Hello everyone, this is Crode giving you a shoutcast between MVP Yoshuah versus Argos Zenith playing under the name Slave Zenith here on Typhon Peaks. This game was taken from the Korean Battle.net servers and it is always promising to be interesting whenever I have an Argos game. Yeah, Argos game's very fun to watch just because of different strategies and the way he's evolved as a player. Early on, really liking to use Nidus networks and Nidus canals or Nidus networks, and then changing his strategy up using infestors before infestors became super popular. And now we'll see what he transitions into. This is Typhon Peaks, Argos Zenith spawning on the bottom left-hand side as the red Zerg player, MVP Yoshuah spawning on the top right-hand side as the blue Protoss. And I'll try to refer to them as Protoss versus Zerg throughout the rest of the matchup so I don't get too confused. Now, Typhon Peaks, one of those Battle.net maps that you don't see a lot of games really played on in the high-level tournaments, so I'm really not quite sure what to expect from these players. There is a very easy to take natural expansion here. It is somewhat close to your ramp, so you are able to guard it. 1 to 2 creep tumors is all it takes to really connect them. You also have a third base, which is a much more exposed. It is in this recessed canyon area down over here, and a second entrance with destructible rocks does lead straight into the base, as we can now see the probe coming across the map. And we'll quickly begin some scouting as well. We are going into an extractor or a pool extractor expansion, so it doesn't look like we will have an early hatchery by any means. The probe gonna come up that ramp and now try and take a look at what's going on currently. He sees one extractor pretty much open. Now he needs to come along that backside, sees the second extractor, and now I believe he should be looking for that spawning pool, but he is not looking at that spawning pool yet. So perhaps the probe just gonna hang around down on the low ground. Looks once more, doesn't see a hatchery, and now he will see that spawning pool now being completed. Cybernetics Core most likely will be added here. A Zealot should be trained to hold position there and then fend off a large number of Zerglings. Probe still wandering around. Queen now finally being trained. And we should have a decent amount of gas in just a moment, and that metabolic boost will definitely help out. Typhon Peaks, a rather large map in the current Battle.net pool. I think it plays only smaller than Tall Dream Altar. A lot of walking distances and a lot of ways to get into your opponent's base, so a lot of flanking as well. You can see the probe making a curious direction coming over here, and we'll see why he's hanging out over here in just a moment. As the Zerglings look to clear out a probe that is over here at the low ground, it is in fact not there. And the Overlord of Argos spots that one probe, so we'll see what that probe has in store. He could try to go for a proxy pylon and perhaps even build up some Stargates and then come in with Void Rays. Zergling now doing some scouting as well, as that probe just simply hides down over here, perhaps just trying to hide in the brush in between those two locations there, pretty much not being revealed at all. Drone able to sneak its way by. We are getting one sentry into position as well. One Zealot holding off that wall-in location there, as the drone now tries to maneuver itself around and get as much scouting information as possible. Down over here, you can see that there are 2 assimilators mining up a lot of gas and now chrono boosting as well. The one Zergling looking for that one probe doesn't see it. So that probe hiding off in between those 2 locations there, very smart, as the Zergling also guarding that ramp choke point there. It looks like the drone was able to in fact escape there just because the sentry was unable to mineral path his way through. Excuse me. We are getting another hatchery down here at the low ground expansion, so Argos now looking to expand, and now we are going into a proxy pylon here. So very interesting, but the Zergling of Argos does actually spot it. This pylon will get cancelled, and the Zergling now trying to catch up to this one particular probe. The probe now trying to run around looking for perhaps to set up another proxy pylon somewhere else. The warp gate research is going to be completed. The gateways also will be completed in just a moment as well, and we'll see what is happening. This proxy pylon will finish warping in, and it takes 25 seconds to warp in a pylon, but the Zergling doesn't spot it. He does not come over in time, and it looks like perhaps another Overlord will be coming in over here. This Overlord may actually spot the pylon, but by the time the one Overlord does spot it, the pylon should be completed, and we may already have units warping in, perhaps a couple of Stalkers to destroy that very vulnerable Overlord. Two Stalkers now already in the position here, and it looks like that Overlord's days are pretty much numbered, taking a lot of damage. Zerglings are trying to come in to try to protect the Overlord. Down it goes, and now the Stalkers are going to fight back a sea of Zerglings, and now getting a lot of damage onto those Zerglings. So free Zerglings getting picked off one at a time. One armor on that pylon, down to 20 hit points, 16 hit points, and it looks like it is just enough. 5 Stalkers with now no reinforcements at all. And we are going to have 5 Stalkers trying to push their way forward. We are going to have another proxy pylon set down over here. Zerglings now running by the Zealot and the Sentries as the Stalkers getting even more damage on more of those Zerglings off to the north. The Stalkers have a range of 6, so just a slightly lower range. The Sentries need to come back around. Are we going to get a force field? Yeah, a force field right there, protecting from the rest of those Zerglings there. A Queen is now trying to get some damage, able to finally get some damage there, but a nice pocket protection, making it to minimize all of that damage. Spine Crawlers are continuing to push their way through as we are getting one proxy pylon in that location. And now the Stalkers are able to retreat once more. We are going to have this pylon here. The Spine Crawlers are rooting themselves. Range of 7 as the Zerglings may try to take down that pylon. No, not going after the pylon either, as Roach is also being added. A fresh group of Stalkers now coming in. A Nexus expansion also coming in as well, as the Zerglings look to get even more damage once more. Oh, in comes the force field, and the force field preventing the Roaches from being able to come in. And now the Stalkers up on the high ground, going to be able to shoot down many of those Overlords. One Overlord down, a second Overlord now down. No, instead going after the Roaches. Overlord down to 6 hit points, not going to go after it. There you go. Finally battling forth, and 4 Stalkers inside the base. The Zerglings and the Roaches should be able to handle it, but a lot of damage and a lot of disruption to be had. Taking a look at the total losses, 25-25 versus 1,600. Total harvester count, 27 drones versus 25 probes. Yeah, so 26 drones versus 25 probes. Pretty even there as the production. We're finally starting to see a very, very strong power drone coming in from Argos. Meanwhile, back in the base of the Protoss player, a lot of sentries and a lot of Stalkers now going for the Forge as well. I don't see a robotics facility yet. So without a robotics facility, those sentries are not going to be able to cast force fields with the help of any Colossus. The Zerglings now perhaps looking to do a flank. No, gonna take down these destructible rocks instead. It will take a little bit of time for those rocks to go down, as they do have 3 armor there. And now an Overlord just in position. He does spot this expansion now being set up. Stalkers and sentries now making their way up as well. Coming in between those 2 locations there, that Overlord most likely will get shot down at some point, as another Overlord coming in over here will get a lot of scouting information once again. Harvester count, 39 drones versus 31 probes, as both players now transitioning into a very heavy macro style of play. No additional hatchery being set up down over here just quite yet, as I say that, you can already see the outline of a new hatchery coming in, so a drone will grow up and be a hatchery as Argos now transitions into 3-base play. Evolution Chamber is down. Perhaps we will get the missile upgrades. No, going for claw upgrades first. So it looks like Ultralisk and Zergling is going to be the main staple in the upcoming battles, as a Zergling tries to take down this last probe over there. Queen, I believe, gets in that final hit. Yeah, the Queen able to get some damage. And now, where exactly is Argos moving out with this one Queen? I'm not quite sure. As the Stalkers and Sentries now move in over here, they know that the rocks have been taken down. If he's actually spotting it or looking for it, as the Sentries and Stalkers are in this position here, we'll see what happens. A lot of creep tumors are being laid down, so Argos going to have a very strong creep highway in just a moment. Zergling is now backing off, as both sides are now macroing up and getting a very decent sized army. The Zerglings may be able to swarm in, and it looks like, oh, that poor probe tries to walk up that ramp to see what's there, only to find an army of Zerglings battling it out. Production, we have a Ventral Sax Burrow now being researched as well. A Queen still in midfield, perhaps waiting for more creep tumors to make their way out. The Spine Crawlers could push their way forward into this location here, and then be able to cover that back door, as well as the Stalkers and Sentries are now moving in to try to take a look. We may be getting, no, this is going to be an Overseer now. The Overseer taking a look, also used that warp gate, or corrupted that warp gate, and now just trying to get as much scouting information as possible. No pneumatized carapaces just quite yet, as the one Overseer down to 156 hit points and backing off once more. Argos having a lot of map presence at this stage, but not much else. His army is significantly smaller, especially if you look at the gas. Another hatchery coming online as a third base being built by Yoshuah at the low ground expansion. Now, after your third base, it is very difficult to try to expand once more. All the expansions are very, very much exposed or very far away. You can try to take this expansion as well by destroying your destructible rocks leading into this expansion here, but it is much closer to your opponent's base, and you are also going to start to spread yourself very, very thin. Creep tumors are now still being laid down, more and more creep tumors, so just a lot of map presence out as the overlords also on the move once more. We are going into Robotics Bay and a Twilight Council, so we will be getting Blink in just a moment, most likely, or we may even see High Templars or Dark Templars at this stage in the game. Zerglings still sitting off over here, and this is pretty much a macro fest as no one wants to engage yet. Twilight Council about to be completed, Colossus already being trained, Extended Thermal Lance range already being researched, and also going into hallucinations. So those sentries will perhaps be able to do some scouting with hallucinated phoenixes. Those phoenixes move so quickly across the map as these creep tumors are still pressing their way out throughout the rest of the map. A lot of creep being spread across the map still. 3,000 total resource versus 1275. Argos pretty much still just trying to power drone and now going into some Baneling, so we may have Baneling carpet bombing. And I am surprised that Argos does not have as strong of an economic lead at this stage in the game. Normally, if Zerg is able to just power drone and do what he wants to do, he should be sitting somewhere within the 90 drone count. His army only consists of 60 food right now, but he does have a lot of larvae in order to transition. Using all of his creep tumors as an early warning system, he should be able to just queue up the proper units and then push out in very, very easily. Hydralisk also being trained as well, so that is going to be a lot of Hydralisk to be had. The only problem is we'll be dealing with the Colossus. The Colossi dealing so much damage, especially with the level 2 weapons upgrade and the extended thermal lance range. Also, the Colossus able to attack, move, very decent range, and also the fastest movement speed on anything that has a range above 9 that can attack ground. Hydralisk now perhaps going to shut down that Phoenix. No, that Phoenix is just going to back off over here. The Queen going to get an hallucinated kill as another hatchery finally being placed down. Both players, I guess, really, really comfortable with a large amount of macro as the army and the food count is now jumping into the 170 range. You can take a look at the army count: 17 Hydralisks, 17 Roaches, and a lot of Banelings so far, as we are now going to do some Baneling carpet bombing. So it is going to be a bombing run into the mineral line now. And Zenith getting some damage here. Down goes a group of probes. Down goes another group of probes. And so much damage to be had. There goes another group. The Banelings just taking down so many units and now finally backing off. Workers killed 29. So 29 workers lost there. And now something needs to happen. MVP needs to perhaps try to push out and press out with his no longer superior army, as Argos is going to be able to start getting a lot of minerals in the main bases. Roach is now perhaps going to try to do a drop as well. So Roaches, Hydralisk, and Roaches. And so this is going to be a multi-prong attack and drop. I do not see any Broodlords anywhere soon. So those photon cannons are going to pretty much be able to fight back against any Zerg army. We can see that there is currently one Overlord off in that position here, as the Roaches coming out and just dealing a lot of damage there. So Roaches and Hydros may be trying to come in for a flank. This may be a bit of a problem as more creep tumors still being laid across the map. And wow, just so much vision as the Overlord's now doing a drop into the main base. So there's going to be a drop into the main base. The Colossus now trying to engage. The Roach is now trying to pull back here. And a drop into the main base going to deal a lot of damage. Many of these production buildings. Stalkers are already trying to come into play. But so many Roaches, so many Hydralisks. And I believe all of those Stalkers will get easily cleaned up. The Stalkers are blinking back. Colossus on the high ground, able to finish up that drop very easily. And there you go, there's that force field, effectively just shutting down any ground army from being able to attack. Roaches and Hydros now trying to push in over there, unable to do so. And Slave having a very difficult time. trying to press his army advantage. We are now seeing a stronger advantage for MVP and Yoshuah at this stage, as we are now going into, what is that? How many productions is that? 30 banelings in production. Roaches and Hydralisks now need to make a move. Are these banelings going to hatch in time? Probably not, as those banelings are now trying to desperately run away. No movement speed upgrade. And now the banelings are just jumping into the overlords instead. The overlords do have that movement speed upgrade, as a creep tumor should be laid down in order to make sure that this creep does not recede too far. No movement speed upgrade on those banelings, which is quite a surprise. Banelings with that movement speed upgrade moving so much faster and able to catch up to those stalkers on creep. You can see changelings, multiple changelings, all just being dropped down, and changeling after changeling quickly and easily getting destroyed. Perhaps it would have been better to actually corruption the forge and try to slow down the weapons upgrade. More banelings now coming in as well, and this is one of the benefits of banelings. Banelings are the most expensive unit per food. If you think about it, one food of banelings is 100 minerals and 50 gas. So 100 minerals and 50 gas off of one food. If you have a large army of banelings, that is going to be a very, very destructive number, as looks like Argos once again trying to make another move for baneling carpet bombing. So an overlord here ready and primed. Dark Templars now making their way out. There is no overseers that I can spot at this stage. So another hatchery over here, as the Dark Templars looking to deal some damage. I'm not quite sure how successful that will be. So many probes over here were taken down once more. No probes are taken down, as this overlord in a bit of a pickle. It is sitting over there to the north and pretty much knows that it cannot get that much damage. And Dark Templars now slicing their way through these drones. A lot of workers are currently getting killed. Already up to 12 worker kills already, as the Stalkers and the Colossus really need to do something. MVP cannot just sit on this on these bases and not try to do anything at all. There are a lot of overlords here, and overlords are going to just get shot down. That's going to be a problem, as those units need to back off over here. You can see that the Dark Templars looking to get some more damage on those units, and I don't see anything that's really happening. Overseer sniping down, or allowing the sniping down of those two Dark Templars. Once again, a very large army. I don't see any corruptors at all. Corruptors are currently being brought into play, but no fungal growth. So the only real splash damage is going to be these overlords, and a lot of banelings lost in this engagement. And now the overlords coming back in. Hydralisks now trying to engage as well. There are no ultralisks in this group, and now the banelings are going to start bombing on top of so many of these stalkers. All of those stalkers completely just getting destroyed, as the roaches and hydralisks and just able to finish off this battle here. And now the Hydralisks are able to finish this off, and now the Stalkers are trying to run away once more. Stalkers are able to blink, and being able to move at the speed of light, a definite benefit. 157 versus 120 production. We are still getting a lot of drones. Zerg carapace upgrades, level 3 melee attack upgrades. I do not know if the Zerglings have adrenal glands. No, they do not. So no crackling upgrades at all. There is still one overlord hiding off to the north. It could easily just do more baneling carpet bombing straight into this mineral line here and shut down a lot of those probes. You can see the Stalkers thinking that there's nothing over here, as in comes an engagement. Overseer getting quickly shot down, and now the Dark Templar is going to have its way with all of these units. Roaches and Hydralisks trying to engage. Dark Templars going to be able to easily counter this, and the Roaches and Hydralisks trying to back off once more. But a nice baneling carpet bombing there, essentially taking down all the workers, and now 40 workers compared to 69. An upgraded overlord, or sorry, an upgraded baneling, I believe, does 43 damage. More than enough to shut down a probe. So one baneling able to destroy all those probes, as infestors are now being added to the army. We are also getting the greater spire as well, so that will definitely help out, as you can still see MVP sitting on a very, very defensive posture, but not having that many workers. You can see a lot of probes down over here. They're going to get transferred as well, as the Dark Templars continue their push. You can still see Argos sitting off with this hatchery over here. This hatchery is going to get sniped down rather quickly. Overseer does spot them. Roach is now coming in, and the Overseer moving so quickly with the pneumatized carapace, able to catch up to those Dark Templars. Currently having more Colossus now being trained. I do not see that many sentries in the combination. No sentries at all. So just a pure DPS army, as in comes a queen. The queen, the infestors all burrowed, and now the Dark Templars trying to go after the infestors, unable to do so either. And as the longer this game goes, the better it will be for Argos, as Argos is now sitting on casters. Once again, trading the energy on infestors in order to deal damage towards the army. Always very, very nice if you're able to save that infestor. An infestor that's able to cast 3 to 4 fungal growths, definitely worth its time. Or definitely worth its resources. We are getting a lot of Corruptors as well. We are getting some Banelings as well. So Banelings and Corruptors as another... Oh no. It looked like an Overlord was trying to do another Baneling carpet bombing here on these probes, but no success there, as army-wise, we have almost 10,000 compared to 7,000 at this stage. 7 Broodlords being trained up, level 2 flyer attack, level 3 missile upgrades attack, and we are also going into High Templar, Psionic Storm also being researched as well. Roaches and Hydralisks on the move once more. The Overseer having a lot of energy, and it looks like the Banelings will also be hiding in the Overlords. And here's the problem: the Overlords are what I thought for a moment that they were actually getting the Carapace upgrades, but no, getting only the weapons attack upgrade, and those Banelings in combination with those Overlords may be able to deal a lot of damage. One Dark Templar over here sitting at level 3 weapons attack doesn't spot this one Dark Templar over here. There is a couple Spore Crawlers, and yeah, that Dark Templar will not be able to really attack anything or deal that much damage at all. You can see that the Infestors are currently burrowed and also making a move as well. The Roaches will be able to snipe down all of those Dark Templars. And MVP in a definite trouble. He let Argos expand way too fast, way too far. And all that really needs to happen for Argos is Argos needs to be very patient and make sure that he does not overplay his hand. Down goes an Observer as well, very important, as this Broodlord army may get sniped down by Stalkers. You can see the Colossus and the Stalkers now moving out over here. A lot of Broodlords, and this army battle will be epic. And Argos now sitting on 200, almost 200 food. And now Stalkers, in comes a blink. Are we going to get any fungal growth? No fungal growth just quite yet. Psystorm now coming in. And the units are backing off there. The Broodlords did not engage at all. The Stalkers able to finish off a lot of those units there, as the Broodlords may start raining down a lot of damage onto these Photon Cannons. You can see the Overlords are generating creep. And in come the Broodlords. Broodlords now getting in as much damage as possible. And now in comes some fungal growth. Oh, feedback all across the Infestors. So much damage is being dealt, and now carpet bombing onto immobile units. Nicely done, as all those Overlords are going to have a very difficult time. We need to see another round of fungal growth. Excuse me, as the Broodlords are now desperately trying to run away. The Broodlords are in a bit of trouble, as the Stalkers should be able to blink down to the low ground and now clean up the rest of those Broodlords. Broodlords getting cleaned up with ease, but now a mass Roach army in production. You can see 32 Roaches were queued up, and now it looks as though MVP, who is now currently behind in bases, may be able to get back into this game if he's able to press his army. 80 Harvester versus 52. There's the income tab for you guys to take a look at. Roaches now coming out to mass engage. Roaches trying to push in and get as much damage onto those Stalkers as possible. So many creep tumors, allowing those Roaches to move so quickly. Now trying to snipe down as many Stalkers. And now some High Templar and Colossi are going to fall very easily. Down they go. The Roaches are still trying to push their way around, and now finally getting Tunneling Claws, as the Tunneling Claws would allow them to regenerate much more quickly and be able to run around. There you go. There's the burrow. Roaches burrowed, I believe, at 5 hit points a second is how fast they regenerate. So it does take 28 seconds, or about 30 seconds for them to go from half-life back up to full life, or back up to full life there, as those Roaches are now once again on the move. Roaches are upgraded 3-0. Carapace upgrades and Katona's plating now also being researched, as drones now making their way off over here. No detection, though. So this Dark Templar may be able to get a lot of damage. There are two Spine Crawlers being morphed into play, and also 2 Spore Crawlers. So that will be enough to detract any serious harassment from those Dark Templars. Dark Templars are upgraded 3-2, as more long-distance mining coming in from MVP. Army, we have 5,000 resources versus 5,000 as well. So it's a pretty even matchup, as those Infestors look to perhaps shut down the high mobility of those Stalkers. The Stalkers are making their way out. The Roaches are going to be in a bit of a trouble. Are they going to perhaps try to come in from that backside? No, it does not look like it. One Queen is burrowed. One Dark Templar getting in a lot of damage, 60 damage per attack. But that poor Dark Templar is not going to be able to see the light of day once again. So a lot of probes now being mined over here, or mining away over here. You can see that the harvester count, however, is 71 to 52, but a slight income advantage. Or not that much of an income advantage, only 400 and 600 gas. So it's really the gas that Argos is using for his advantage. You can see that he's sitting on 2,000 gas and is still training up more and more units. Stalkers, High Templars, Colossus still making their way out. More Broodlords, Zerg Flyer attack level 3. So not only do the Broodlords deal 26 damage in attack, also those Broodlings, I believe, are dealing 7 damage in attack as well. And for a very, very nice combination, very, very mass DPS, the Stalkers now trying to take another expansion here, but it's really going to be the sheer amount of income by both of these players. Roaches and Infestors perhaps looking to do another push in just a moment. The Overlords pretty much with nothing inside them at all. 27 Overlords, 3 Overseers, 5 Broodlords. Those Broodlords should be making a push in just a moment, as we are now also going into Neural Parasite. So Neural Parasite, Fungal Growth. I just haven't seen Infested Terrans at all in this matchup. Also, you can see that there is a bunch of larvae. So 113 larvae currently for Argos. So if you take a look at Argos, if Argos is able to just macro up that quickly, Broodlord's now making a move into this position here. The Stalkers are going to try to engage. There is one Changeling down over here. Roach is going to be able to snipe this down. Stalkers may try to do in a bit of a push as the Hydralisk and Roaches. Broodlords are now going to be coming in, and how much damage is going to be dealt? Not that much at all. Those Stalkers able to finish off those Broodlings with ease. Broodlords once again trying to engage, not going to be able to get into position as those Broodlings are chasing after those units and just continuing to just drop down. Roaches able to catch up, and oh, so much Psystorm there and feedback across those Infestors. Broodlords Psystorm even further, as both sides are really managing their armies very, very well. There are, what, 5 Broodlords in the air, in addition to the sheer army on the ground, but with so many larvae able to come in, and oh, in come the Stalkers. Stalkers now going after the Broodlord. Roach is now coming in as well. Fungal Growth across all of those Stalkers, and there's the GG. So yeah, a very, very long matchup here on Typhon Peaks. MVP and Yoshuah never really expanded and never really got the serious map control that he needed to in order to defeat Argos. Argos running off of, I believe, 7 bases, mining 3 of them completely out. You can see also how many larvae he has, 106 larvae. That means that if he doesn't even have enough food, or he would naturally hit the food cap if he tried to train up 100 roaches. So yeah, able to easily replenish all of those units rather quickly, as his income was sitting at 1,400 compared to 1,260. But a very nice play by MVP. I gotta admit that I didn't expect MVP to really stick in this game that long. He was only running off of 5 bases compared to 7. Taking a look at the total spending, the spending was pretty even. The only real difference was in technology and economy. So I'm not quite sure how economy is added in. Perhaps it includes hatcheries, which is also the production building for Zerg. So yeah, that's not a really good indicator either. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. A very long, epic battle here on Typhon Peaks with a lot of Roaches and Hydralisks able to battle it out, and without going one Corruptor to engage against those Colossus, he was actually able to defeat Colossi. So yeah, very impressed by that, just sheer macro. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay.